May of 2017, Bratislava, Slovakia. The International Advisory Committee of Organizations of Reserve Officers held a traditional humanitarian action, Mission for Peace and Friendship. This year, it was time to coincide with the Day of Victory over fascism. As part of Mission for Peace and Friendship, a regular meeting of the General Assembly of the International Advisory Committee of Organizations of Reserve Officers was held. President of the IAC, Alexander Kanchin, delivered welcoming remarks addressed to the participants. I'm glad to welcome you here in Bratislava, the capital of Slovakia. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Chairman of the Flag Officers Club, Mr. František Blunarik, and all the members of the club present here for hospitality shown us and assistance for the event to be organized and held. Discussion of the growing challenge of international terrorism was the agenda's focal point. The participants of the conference noted that doing everything to avert further escalation of tensions in the world was a must.
To maintain peace and security among neighbor countries and countries that have some misunderstandings between them, as in territorial demands, border conflicts and religious hatred, is not an easy task to solve.
According to experts, 45 countries today are exposed to this danger. In recent years, the geography of terrorism has expanded significantly. If only recently terrorist attacks mainly targeted Middle East countries such as Iraq, Libya, Saudi Arabia, Israel and Syria, now terrorism has emerged in Central Europe. Over the past 2 years alone, almost 36 major acts of terror were committed, with the number of victims exceeding 400 people. In the late 20th century, my country, unfortunately, was the first in Europe to face the most brutal form of terrorism, which under the auspices of powerful forces developed into a separatist movement and became a cover for the occupation of the territory of a sovereign European state. The world is overwhelmed by the threat. Subway and apartment buildings explosions, hostage-taking and shootings of civilians. Committed on September 1st, 2004, the Beslan school terrorist attack became one of the most terrible tragedies in Russia's history. It took 334 lives. Most of victims were children. Coming to school at the beginning of classes, bearing in mind a deliberate intention to kill all children, is barbarism beyond understanding. We had nothing left but pool our efforts. One never knows who will fall prey next time. To summarize activities results of the IAC Assembly, the measures memorandum to intensify the efforts of the international community of organizations of reserve officers and veterans to counter terrorism and extremism was adopted.
We call for an end to all wars and eliminate all kinds of terrorism. We call for a fair dialogue and come up with a peaceful, just and lasting solution that guarantees peace in our region.
Today, it is very important that retired and reserve officers and veterans jointly take calls to the heads of governments and states and international organizations for working together for the sake of peace. The agenda of the International Advisory Committee Assembly had a report on its work and the election of governing bodies. With great interest, the conference participants watched a film summarizing the committee's activities over the past 5 years. A decision was taken to put aside traditional multi-page reports, and we prepared a video coverage on the IAC activities.
We should simply strive for peace together.
Veterans and reserve officers has the experience.
Over 6 years, the advisory committee members held Mission for Peace and Friendship humanitarian actions in Moscow, Bratislava, Astana, Belgrade and Paris. They were held a number of joint events, conferences and business congresses. The International Documentary Film Festival for a World Without Wars and Military Conflicts was held. The IAC has been publishing its Officers' Brotherhood magazine along with dozens of books and pamphlets. The IAC website features over 20 documentaries open for public view. Thus, the IAC has become an instrument of people's diplomacy, which is aimed to assist maintaining good neighborly relations among states and nations. The international community has neared a dangerous line which might trigger another world war. Belonging to the military, we understand today's situation, understand that everything possible must be done to avert new global wars.
I do believe that this movement started by Ian will be a key part in the support for peace and friendship worldwide.
I would like to thank you everybody, and it's very good job for your job in your country, for the veteran, for the old soldier, because the soldier is a big family.
Preserving the memory of the feat of nations that defeated fascism, the restoration and taking care of memorial sites and burial places on the territory of European states, as well as the suppression of attempts to falsify history are among high priorities of the IAC's activities. A valuable contribution to restore and preserve existing military memorials and monuments, both here and abroad, was made. Studying military history of various states is extremely important. Countering the falsification of military history, the rewriting of the past, and keeping our eyes open on the dangers of wars and military conflicts are of great significance. The price of war is very high, which is human life. During the meeting, the IAC's president and presidium were elected. Alexander Kanchin was elected the IAC president again. Anatoly Kumahov was appointed Secretary General. They were elected Vice Presidents of the International Advisory Committee of Reserve Officers. František Blanarik, Slovakia, Laurent Atar-Bayrou, France, Bahidjan Ertaev, Kazakhstan, Anatoly Boyko, Ukraine, Ahmed Al-Efishar, Jordan, and Stoyan Topalov, Bulgaria. The years of teamwork have forged the IAC members who have become not merely partners but true friends. They know that, despite possible political differences at the state level, they can always find a common language, lend a helping hand to each other. To confirm strong military ties, the participants exchanged memorable signs and awards. President of the World Federation of Veterans, the UN Peace Ambassador Dan Viggo Bergton, awarded Alexander Kanchin the Honorary Veteran Medal for his contribution to the veteran movement and the development of peacekeeping. The IAC's highest award of Knighthood Order was awarded to Chairman of the Association of Reserve Officers of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Anatoly Boyko. Held at the Slavin Mount, the wreath-laying ceremony to the Soviet soldiers' monument who had sacrificed their lives during the liberation of Slovakia from the Nazis marked the close of the mission for peace and friendship. Participants of the International Advisory Committee Assembly had informal conversations, met with representatives of youth organizations of Slovakia, and took a walk of Bratislava, one of the most beautiful cities in Europe. The mission for peace and friendship humanitarian action in Bratislava came to a close, becoming another step towards strengthening good neighborly relations among states. Therefore, the geography of the International Advisory Committee of Organizations of Reserve Officers will definitely be expanding. The number of countries willing to join efforts for peace and averting new armed conflicts in the world is steadily growing. We have ambitious plans lying ahead of us, and altogether we are going to implement them. Besides, we are going to expand our contacts.